Hello, everybody. Welcome to Air Tycoon 5, and welcome back to another episode. Today, basically, what I want to do is I want to discuss some things that I'm planning to do in the future, and also just show where we are, because I've played, I think, close to a year off camera, and as we can see, our uptick here is now over 500,000, so half a billion a turn now, which is pretty good. Um, if we take a look at our last uptick, equivalent uptick, it was about 100,000 lower, so we're moving up about 100,000 K every single turn that passes, or every single year that passes, which is not too bad. It's not the best, but you got to keep in mind we are still investing heavily. 220,000 into investment is quite a bit for advertising, for cities, and as we're building image in all these cities, we are, gonna be spending for it. So, some of these cities are falling quite far behind, like Barcelona and Madrid. So we're adding a little bit to hopefully catch them up. As we can see, they're getting close to slot locked, so I definitely want to be able to move in there before they're completely out of slots. But even regardless, we have a few new cities which have come up above 50, which we're planning on opening soon. So the first one is Singapore, the next one is Frankfurt. We're probably going to open Frankfurt first because Frankfurt has more problems with slot restrictions. As you can see, there's already 2,700 slots being used, where Singapore is chilling around 1,500. So there's plenty of time to kind of make sure we get all the slots we need in Singapore, but not so much um, for um, for Frankfurt. So let's go ahead and pass this turn. Another thing I've done is I have ordered a few 747 SPs. These are going to be kind of our future plane that we buy outright when we're not doing the Tupolev 747 lease strategy. We're going to be, purchasing our own SPs. And if we can take a look at them, um, they're just brand new, placed on new routes. And the reason for that is just because I had no ability to open new bases before now. Which means that, of course, it was not really worth it to buy Tupolevs that I couldn't fly, and would just be sitting around burning money. Anyhow, it is now time to open up Frankfurt. So let's go ahead and open this. 50,000 for a new branch, expensive as always. And let's go ahead and just make sure we use all the slots. Um, Basically, that's the only goal of these Tupolevs at this point in time now, is not to make any money, it's just to occupy all the slots, um, and kind of delay for the time that we are able to fly these routes with normal aircraft. And what do I mean by normal aircraft? And what I mean is wide bodies with stopovers. In this game, there's really no purpose to doing anything except for stopovers, due to just the way the economics of the game works. And kind of what that means is I want to, in the future, fly every single one of these, even short haul routes, with wide bodies, on a stopover, basically. And in order to do that, of course, we're going to need a lot of wide bodies. Now, wide bodies are too expensive to just buy outright as of right now. Basically, because of their high cost, it's right now literally more economic to just do this Tupolev 747 lease strategy we've been doing for almost a decade now. And eventually that will have to come to an end, right? Eventually, um, we're just going to run out of slots in the entire world, in cities that it's kind of worth basing in. Maybe we could just continue doing this for smaller and smaller cities, right? Um, but I don't think that's completely worth it because smaller cities, of course, are only viable in terms of opening routes to other large cities, and we will already be based in those large cities. So, for example, Budapest is a considered a small city in Air Tycoon. Air Tycoon. I don't know why I'm stuttering so much, but yeah, because it's such a small city, I'm really only going to be opening these routes to the likes of New York, Atlanta, Shanghai. Some of the Asian big cities, or London or Paris. Only other really big cities we're going to open to a route like Vienna or Prague or any like medium-sized 300 um, business and tour cities. Um, and because of that, there's really no point basing there because we're gonna already have all those other cities with bases there. So yeah, with that in mind, we're kind of just in this situation. We're kind of stuck, where at some point we'll have to transition off Tupolevs because there'll be no more slots. Like there's no more slots in Frankfurt right now. I do know there are some slots in Los Angeles, so we can go ahead and use those. Um, But yeah, once we run out of slots, right, we'll have to transition to something else. I'm not sure quite what yet. Like what we'll be able to do um, with all this like routes we want to take, but still little ability to do so because we're just out of planes. Um, I'm not quite exactly sure what we're gonna do there yet. Um, from what I think I'm gonna do, what's probably going to end up happening is I will just, as the future goes on, we're going to get access to a lot of awesome new aircraft. We're going to get access to A310s, 767s, and hopefully there'll be new leasable wide bodies. That's really important. If there are no new leasable wide bodies, then we're going to run into issues, right? Because there's going to be just no way to kind of expand efficiently. Um, as every single plane we buy will have to be a plane we purchase outright, and these cities are glitching. If you guys remember in this game, as you move the map around, the translation of the cities on the map, it kind of gets farther and farther off. I believe this is like some kind of floating point error in the math in this game. And it's just kind of funny because, yeah, some of the cities can move hundreds of kilometers away from where they originally are. And as you can see, Los Angeles and the nearby airport have now swapped places, making it very difficult to click. But yeah, that's just quite funny. Um, what can we do besides try and click Los Angeles more accurately? Yeah, I believe that other city, which is right near Los Angeles, is usually below it, and now it's above. So yeah, these cities are definitely starting to move around. I might have to restart my game soon, in order to fix that, but I don't want to restart it this play session, so we're just gonna deal with it and kind of open new routes regardless. As you can see, I'm opening competition routes. Um, I'd rather kind of occupy slots in Houston and lose money or in LA, than kind of make money without occupying these slots, and that's fine. Um, Once ahead, we can go ahead and set the prices, make sure those aren't too bad. Perfectly fine. And what else do we need to do? We need to, of course, buy fuel. And I went to the wrong menu, as usual. Boom, go ahead and buy the fuel. Did I forget to buy fuel last turn? That would explain why I would have so much um, money from last turn. Interesting, interesting. Anyhow, let's go ahead and I think this is a Tupolev turn actually, because we just used Tupolevs, so we go ahead and buy Tupolevs. And yeah, the satisfaction of these is starting to get really low, by the way, 35%. Oof. Um, so yeah, the big problem with the satisfaction, right, is that once it turns red, the planes become so hard to fill, even on monopolies, um, which is kind of interesting. And yeah, we also gonna have to be probably quite careful here, as we buy so many of these Tupolevs. Where will we put them, right? I believe cities take 2 turns to upgrade their airports. So Frankfurt will be upgradable in 2 turns. I don't know if we have 20 routes there yet, so I don't think we can open Singapore. Let's see if we can actually. Don't have enough money, so we'll find out next turn if it's possible. And yeah, look at that. Pretty bad down take there. Oh no, and we leveled up. Does that mean our staff will be unhappy? Uh, where does it say that? No, it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know if the levels up do anything useful in this game, or if it just increases your expenses correspondingly. I have no idea. Um, Anyhow, I think we should start to consider a couple things. Is obviously our passenger count is just not even close anymore. But like, what is happening in the land of British line? How much are they making? 255,000. So even on like a big downtake for us, down to 390,000, including opening a new base, which is 50,000 expense we don't normally have. We are kind of soaring past at this point, so that's very nice to see. Um, and yeah, I guess let's go ahead and open some routes. What we can do is we can use Frankfurt here. Um, and make some pretty good stopovers, and we can use that to kind of um, unlock the ability to open Singapore as a base and give us something to do with these countless planes that we're going to get soon. Out of curiosity, I wonder how many schedules we'll be competing with here. Yeah, if it's just something like one IL-62, I'm just gonna pretend they're not even there. Um, One IL-62 provides almost no competition to a 747 because of the low satisfaction. Yeah, something like this, two IL-62s, who cares? Um, Nobody will want to fly on that IL-62, and my 747 will be very happy about that. So I'm going to go ahead and open a lot of these routes, just kind of lower competition with lower against lower satisfaction planes. Should be no problem. Um, what about something like Atlanta? I'd imagine, yeah, tons and tons of competitors there. But what happens? What happens if we open a competitive flight? I'm just kind of curious at this point. Like, maybe there's a city with slightly less competition. Um, yeah, like something like this actually is interesting because the satisfaction here is much better. The L1011 is a much bigger plane. Um, but the satisfaction is not red. So I think I want to compete with red satisfaction. That just looks easier, you know? Or we can also look for cities with just less flights in general, like Detroit maybe. Um, that could also be good. And that should be fine, actually. Do we have enough routes open to open Singapore as a base? Yes, we do. So we'll go ahead and do that. Back-to-back base openings, guys. It's looking pretty good. And, ooh, I forgot. Yeah, this is kind of like the eternal problem with Singapore. It's just so far from the rest of the world. We really need like longer range aircraft to kind of reach. Um, yeah, regardless, I think Toronto. I think we just need to use New York competitive on as the other side of the route. As we can see, there's quite a bit of like illusions, whatever. Who cares? We just compete with those guys. Um, our 747 is a half of a stopover, where the other half should be perfectly fine. And the competitors will be kind of suffering more than us from that. Oh my god, we can just barely not reach um, some of those great cities down there. So, what can we reach? What can we reach? Bucharest. Yeah, you know what? We might be able to go this way. Do something funny like this: Singapore to Qingdao, and then to Los Angeles. Ooh, that is also too far. Oh, San Francisco. Oh, San Francisco. I'm not investing in San Francisco. Whoops. Boom. Let's just put a huge amount of investment there and hopefully get that open soon. Same with Seattle. Looks like no one's based in Seattle though, so we have kind of no hurry. Shoot. This is awkward. Um, I guess Singapore's not a great base. Just all the cities which you can reach with a 747 are not great. I guess we could do stuff like this. This is still not too bad. Can this reach New York? No, it cannot. Oh no. I guess there's just a few cities in the sweet spot here that we can do, and we can just use Singapore as a mediocre Tupolev dump. Um, that's okay. Sometimes things happen like that. You know, you didn't plan it perfectly, and then it's not great. But yeah, we can still open plenty of less desirable kind of routes, which are still good, but not the best. Singapore and New York are massive cities, which are both like in the same scale as London, basically. So these routes should be profitable, regardless of the fact that they're not the best cities available, just due to our like silly range restrictions that I wasn't quite thinking about when I opened this base. Um, Anyhow, let's just find every like 300-ish city, Bucharest exactly, and just connect them up to New York here. And that should be a good use of our 747s. And once again, we have to fix these really oddly priced flights. I have no idea why you just can't set a default price. One of the strangest things in this game, to be honest. Um, there's a lot of good quality of life features, like the um, presets for the services. You know what I mean? Like, go here, you can select from these presets. This was a great change. Why is that not the same for pricing? You know, because it would be super useful, and I would definitely use it all the time. One thing we should do here is make sure we fix this. Actually, make sure we have enough fuel tanks. maintenance and lounge, and we should do the same for Frankfurt, wherever it is. I think it might be easier to find on the map than it would be to find it in that list. So let's come here, go ahead and make sure we have plenty of offices and stuff. Maintenance, lounge, fuel tanks. This is going to be an expensive fuel tank fill up, which is kind of unfortunate, but that's okay. Where is the fuel tank fill up? Over here, boom, 120 extra thousand. That's okay. I'm not sure we have enough leases for these 747s anyway. I think we do actually. Yeah, six full leases. It's not huge. So yeah, a lot of new planes coming in. Let's go ahead and pass this turn, I believe. Yep, another kind of bad down tick, kind of just brought on by the fact, well, it's a down tick as usual, but also our what am I trying to say? Oh yeah, but also we opened a new base, so yeah, that's gonna be rough. Just by default. This is kind of worrying me here. Is that Los Angeles is about to run out of slots, and we don't have a lot of the long haul routes yet. So I'm gonna do an old classic that I like to do when I'm feeling lazy. Passenger. Oh no, that's already a route. Okay, Las Vegas. So this is kind of an old classic of mine when I yep. Let's go ahead and open this. Yeah, so basically what we do is we just open some random short haul route really really close by, and what we can do is we can buy all the slots, and then we can go to this route. I don't even think we need two, right? And we can just max out the schedules, right? And then there we go. Yeah, we can just use that to kind of hold slots until we can use them with some other useful planes. Um, so that's what I'm gonna do there. It's just a small little detail, which is should be pretty useful. Um, so also come here to Singapore and start using all the slots over here. Singapore rarely runs into slot issues, but even regardless, we should be careful and make sure we don't eventually run out of those. And it looks like all our airports once again have no slots available. So let's see if we have any new airports taking over 50. We got Moscow here. Moscow is not a great city, but I think we can open it. Ooh, we got Amsterdam. I think we'll use Amsterdam then because that's a bit better. Um, yeah, Amsterdam is great. So let's go ahead and open Amsterdam when we can. I don't think we can yet. Yeah, Singapore doesn't have enough routes. So, what else can we do? We can do. Okay, this is gonna be really dumb, guys. But I'm gonna open a flight with like one slot each. Um, yep, something like this. And this is just to get enough. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna need to do this like 20 times. Oh, it's gonna be painful. Okay. And then once we want to kind of change these into normal flights with a normal number of slots, it will also be a pain in the butt. Um, but yeah, I think that's the best way to do it here. Oh, forgot to do this. Not good muscle memory on this. I don't know how many flights we already have, but it's definitely not too close to 20. So yeah, when we want to fix this, this is going to be a pain, but what can we do at this point? What can we do? I don't want to pass the turn with over 20 planes not flying, not because, right, at this point, I think it's going to make a big difference in our profit. I don't think it does. Um, our profit is so big compared to how much money these 20 idle planes can lose, it's not even close. But if I start leaving planes unused, I might just stop, flying these tupoleves altogether, and then we're gonna have 100 unused tupoleves, 200 unused tupoleves, 300, 400, 500 unused tupoleves, and then it'll actually be a significant kind of bottleneck on our progress, and it'll be like be confused about what's the issue. We're gonna be, yeah, we're just gonna be like all around like not doing too well, and it's gonna be like, what's going on? And it's just because we're gonna be too lazy to actually use the tupolevs we buy hundreds of. I don't want that to happen. So for now, I am just gonna fly all of them, even if it's doing something silly like this. Um, and just using one slot at a time. And what we can do later, I think, is we can just like there's a flat slot increase button, and I think we could probably use that. So we still need more than 20. How many routes do we have? Where does it say? Where does it say how many routes we have to Singapore? 17. Okay, we need 3 more. That's kind of helpful actually, because then we can go ahead and just open 2 more after this. Let's go Padang and Jakarta. Why not? Once again, I don't really care about which destinations we're choosing anymore. The Tupolews are just here to occupy slots and to allow the lease of more 747s. So yeah, their role is no longer very important. The minuscule amount of profit, if they make any profit at all at this point, who cares? Anyways, that's enough of that. Now we can go ahead and open Amsterdam as a base. And yes, we're going on a base opening spree, guys. It's costing us a lot of money, but it should be worth it in the long run, or even the medium run. And yeah, Amsterdam's not nearly as big of a city as some of the like bases we've been basing in. And kind of what that means, right, is we're not going to want to open all the same stopovers as we normally do, or all the same Tupolev routes even, because I think we'll need slightly bigger cities to make these planes feel good in a base like Amsterdam. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open routes to around 250 business and tour minimum first and see how they do. And if they do well, it'll kind of give me a gauge on what size of city we need to make good stopover routes from. So yeah, going off that, I'm just gonna take a look at some of my 747 routes and how are they doing. Um, so right now is obviously a downtick. So we're gonna need to look at some older routes. So routes like Dublin to Guangzhou, as we can see, these I think this is still gaining. Yeah, it's still gaining traction. So we need to go even deeper down the list, maybe to about here and see how they're doing. Like Ahmedabad to London. Like I'm surprised this is doing so badly. All this route's relatively new also. So um, this is a little bit of a newer route, I believe. Oh no, still. I don't think the routes like this have completely accelerated to maximum yet, or maybe they have. But yeah, as we can see, they're not doing the best. So if already like cities with about 300 business and tour to London aren't doing so well, I can only imagine it will get worse from there. Um, and then yeah, once we get to about here, these routes are doing great. What are these routes like? Like they're quite great is subjective. No, not. I just clicked on the one route which happened to be doing bad in this list, but like some of these, like Santo Domingo to London, are doing great. So I don't know why. I don't know what the difference is, 'cause Santo Domingo is not much bigger than a city which is like not doing too well like Hamilton here. Um, so that's kind of interesting. Is it? Could it possibly be airports overflowing? I'm not sure. I am not sure at all. This is kind of interesting. So I'm gonna have to like get back to you guys on which routes do well and which routes do bad. It just seems I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure what's the issue here at all, actually, which is quite surprising because normally I kind of pride myself on kind of knowing what's going on. And I don't know what's going on there. Those cities seem pretty equivalent to me. Um, I will do further investigation, I guess, and see what's going on. Or maybe I just confusing which cities are how big. That is completely possible too. Um, I cannot rule that out even. So yeah. Anyways, let's go ahead and just quickly occupy all the rest of the slots in Amsterdam. Not many left. So we can go ahead next round and start to find homes for these 747s. Um, yeah, how much slots is left in Moscow? Plenty of slots left in Moscow. Plenty of slots left in Amsterdam. How's the Rome research going? Oh, we're still at 20. It's gonna be a while. I think we'll just hard max this out actually, because I really want Rome soon. Rome is a great city, and yeah, I want to get at least 600 slots there. Otherwise, I'll have to buy the company in Rome, which if they're not competing with me, may take a while to be able to do. Um, yeah, I cannot wait until I start. I'm gonna be able to buy other airlines, but it doesn't seem like that's available yet. Let's take a look at that. That'll be the last thing we do this episode, I think. There's plenty of more 747s coming up, but once again, I can just find routes for those off camera as I have been doing, and I think yeah, I think the next time I come back, I should probably be trying to use a different strategy other than 747 Tupolev because I think you guys get it at this point. Um, Everyone should. It's just it makes sense. It's fantastic, and look at the aircraft lease expense, 500,000. Oh gosh, imagine if I owned those planes, how much money I'd be making. I guess there'd be depreciation instead. And my depreciation is microscopic compared to lease expense, so that shows how expensive leases are in this game. Um, anyhow. Yeah, that's basically all for today. Oh, right. I did want to see if any of those airlines are available to be purchased. I don't even remember where that button is. Oh, here it is, and nope, they are not. I think maybe we have to get to first. Um, so let's see how far away from that we are. 14 billion, 7. Okay, we're quite a while away, guys. Even though our profit is much higher, our 747 Tupolev strategy means we basically only add to our value every other turn. Um, so we're only about keeping pace with value now, so it'll take a little bit more profit before we kind of surge past them. Let's take a look at British Line, who's still number one, 244,000. So yeah, the downticks actually aren't too different because our downtick is not too much better. Our downtick is 322, although this is about 50,000 lower than normal, so 370. So we're still a good 50 plus % higher. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed and see you guys next time. Peace.